Welcome in, friends, to another Black Clover mobile video. Today's point is going to be the path to powering up and leveling up your battle points or your overall mage's battle power the best way. So the combat power right here. This guide is going to take you through a couple of different steps. We're going to go through, and I'll timestamp everything. So we're going to go over bond, level, gear sets, talents, only skills that make a difference, and then maximizing your gear. So first and foremost, an easy thing, we're 2 weeks in. So if you are still having any problems, or if you're a new player coming into Black Clover Mobile and you're just in the reroll phase and you're getting your account ready to go and start progressing, these tips will be the best ones to guide you forward at the most optimal pace to where you're not wasting stamina and you're not wasting time doing anything that you shouldn't be doing out of order. So first and foremost, we want to go ahead and look at a character's bond. And what does bond do? So if you go to a character, you will see on this left tab right here, it'll have bond. Her souls is currently maxed at level 10. If we go to rewards list, we can see that she was an SR character starting. Her first level of bond allows her to go to SSR. The next couple level of bonds give you rewards like the shared mage piece to allow her to transcend past that SR to SSR. It gives you an illustration for just cosmetic value. It gives you some mage XP, some black crystals, which is nice. We get to the UR at level 6, and then all characters have an LR at level 10. So with bond, there's a couple different ways that you can get this. You can achieve it by sending gifts. These gifts right here, you can get these a couple different ways through quests that are just through the game. Through the shop, we can buy bond pieces with real money. If you are free to play, then you can exchange them in the world shop. If you go over here to story, if this loads, and then we go to the overall map, we have this option right here that shows us each world individual. And each of the shops, if you click on them, when you unlock a certain level, every week they will give you the option to buy bond gifts. So stage 1 gives you defender and attacker, which I believe I bought it. Yeah, so attacker, and this is every week. These points you get from just doing like overall missions in the world or like the civilian requests. Also, you get these points from doing your memory hall. So memory hall right here, if you've been confused on what to do on this, you can either go for, well, world 1 only has one option, and you get a chance of getting these 3 items, which are very, very low. So don't come in here thinking that you're going to get these every day. That's not what really it is. This is the item right here. So you get about 5. So we'll say minimum you can get 30 a day, and each box takes around 150. So it'll take you around 5 days to go ahead and get that entire 5 days to go ahead and get that entire piece for just one gift. So not the optimal way to boost bond, but since you are doing this every day, you will get extra gifts down the road. Now, the easiest way to get bond, and also you get a little bit of starter experience points and stuff on your character, so you're not wasting mage XP, is going to be your bond patrol. So first up, since it's the easiest one and the most available one for newer players to kind of clear through with starting characters that they're getting, is going to be the forest near Nika. So if you see right here in the right hand corner, it'll show you how much bond you are granted per clear, and that is per champion or per character. If we go back, let's go ahead and take a look at normal. So it starts at 230 and then it goes up by about 10. We go to hard, it jumps from 250 to 290, and then we're at 300, 310. And then we get to nightmare, we start at 410, and then we work our way to 430. Now, what's great about this one is that you can clear this stage And you're also getting materials to create the food that gives you the 10% bonus in bond acquisition. So what's great about this is that you need the fish and you need this onion right here. This fish, you can see I have 361. The onion is the one that drops a little bit less, but still I have 17 in the inventory. If we head on over to our hideout, you can speak to Charmy. And Charmy is going to be right over here. If y'all haven't found her already, go ahead and talk to her. Click on the cook button right here. And we're going to go to spicy seafood stew. This one right here gives you a 10% bonus of bond collected. So we'll go ahead and cook a bunch of these. Gives you a cool little animation. Some Monster Hunter vibes. Cooking the feast. Delicious. Let's get it. Okay. So we got that. Let's go ahead and go back to the story. We'll go right here. So if we have 430 and we're getting a 10% increase, we're getting about, 43 more per run. So we're getting around 470 per run now with that bonus on the characters. Also, when you are running the characters, for example, I've probably done about 30 bond patrols in total on this fauna. I haven't fed her any XP. She's gotten a bond level of, I believe, 7 she's at right now. Yeah, so 7. And we've done about 30 to 40 bond patrols on her alone. She's got level 7. All we need to do is push her to level 10 to be able to get the LR unlock. So level 10. Most characters that are not seasonal characters, I believe, get a costume at level 9, which is pretty cool. Free costumes in a game is awesome. And she's been able to get to level 41. So almost to the first peak of level 60 without even using any XP on her. Really great thing to farm. Of course, if you can farm further than the Forest of Nika, then go for the easiest one that you can clear. What I would say to use is every day. For example, if we click on this, we get 10 clear tickets. I've already used them for the day, but use your clear tickets on clearing out this bond patrol because it is the fastest, easiest way to get their bond up, and all characters do require 10 bond to be at its optimal point. Now, next up, let's go ahead and talk about level. What is the best way to grind level? Besides doing the bond patrol, you have a couple different options. You have your daily, just first and foremost, when you log in every day, if you go to your general, you will get a daily purchase of 5 SSRs and 5 URs. That's a pretty good chunk, and if you're doing all of the missions and you're doing everything, you will not run out of gold. I promise you, you will not run out of gold. It's not a big thing in this game to run out of it. You'll probably be in the 100 millions by 3-4 more months with the amount of stuff that we're getting. So don't be afraid to use it. That's the first option. Now, of course, option number 2 is going to be the Evergreen Forest. Get as far as you can in the Evergreen Forest and challenge as much as you can to get these stacked up. As long as you are not spending them before your character is at bond level 10, then you are optimizing your XP. Your XP potions are invaluable to using it, or it's not valuable to use it before they're at bond level 10 because they're still gaining XP from the bond patrol. So don't use over what you would need to anyways, because you're still going to be running this character in the bond patrol unless you're using gifts and stuff like that, which I would recommend hoarding your gifts until there's like a character like a Noel coming out or a Julius coming out. That way you can just instant day one just pop them all the way to bond level 10 or as high as you can push them with the gifts that you've accumulated, and you can start using that great new character right then and there. So that's kind of the easy tip for XP. Just don't waste it unless you've got that character to bond level 10. The only other reason that I would say using it is if you are stuck at a point where you do require that character to have a little bit more stats to boost them up to get past that kind of hurdle that you're at, that would be the only thing to do. But even then, most of the time you have a friend with a lot of people who have finished re-rolling and they've gotten through the story, they've gotten their gear farmed and everything, a lot of people have their mercenary available for hire to use to help you out. So a lot of times they can just carry you through most of the content. So be very weary about the XP potions. I made a lot of mistakes earlier on, and this is kind of just all my accumulation of insight and mistakes that I've made that I'm putting into this video. So XP is very self-explanatory. Like I said, just to recap on it, don't use it unless bond level 10. Easy as that. So next, let's go ahead and take a look at gear sets. Gear sets is what everyone is wanting to farm, and everyone wants to get a full LR set. As you can see, I do not have a full LR set on any of my characters yet because I got the bare minimum of what I needed to get done. And then I started focusing on other things like getting stuff prepared for Noel and Julius when they come out so I can fully maximize them in totality. If you are not planning to just go crazy on a certain character, then of course this can be taken into consideration, and maybe this step is a little bit different for you. But in my opinion, for the fastest progress, and what I mean by progress is just clearing the content that is available to us right now. That means clearing every single bond patrol, every single gear set dungeon, whether it's red, green, blue, every single talent dungeon, every single of the memory hall, stuff like that. That's kind of where I'm going to. So the most important thing is just getting the gear synergy. That is your number one goal, is to get gear synergy with the main stat of the item being something that is relevant to the character. Once you do this, most of the characters that you have that'll be like in a team, if you get the base gear set for them, for example, this is the defender set. So we want the 2-piece of defense that gives us defense plus 250. We want the 2-piece of the upgraded defense, which gives us defense plus 30%, and the upgraded health, which gives us HP plus 2000. These can be mixed and matched. You can do a 4 set of this or a 4 set of this, and then a 2, and then like an extra 1 of something. But this is the base minimal set that you would use. Of course, there's min-maxing and stuff like that for stats, like you want to get a higher attack or higher defense. Whatever it may be, that's going to be like your ultimate goal for the end game. But progressing, you want to do something like that. For the attackers, it's very, very explanatory, same thing as well. You want to get 2 of the speed sets, which just allows them to have more movement in a match. It allows them to have more turns, skipping some of the damage that they're going to be taking because they're dishing more damage out quicker. That allows them to get enemies down quicker as well, so that way the enemies have less chances to attack. So we want a 2 set of the speed. Before you get to this is the speed set that you would want to go with as well. This one is if you are afflicted with like a status alignment, which most dungeons and most content, you will get status alignments on your character, so you'll get that speed buff. The attack buff is 7% and 7%, so this can be used on a magic attack or a physical attacker. And then the last one is this one right here. The maximum gear, I'll go over that at the end. Like I said, this portion is just for minimizing what you need to start going. So this is not the end game by any means. I will go over that at the end. On the healers, same thing. We want speed so they can heal more, defense, and then the attack stat of whatever their healing is based off of. In Charmy's instance, she does more heals based on her magic attack. So we want to buff her magic attack as much as we can with the gear that we have. So that's kind of the explanation of gear, getting started. Hit those gear sets. Don't worry about the substats and everything like that. Roll them up to 4, roll them up to 8. Minimum investment in them before you keep going into the LR gear grinding to get the best gear for the end game. So don't waste all your materials maxing everything out right away. Just get the minimum stats available and make your life very easy by doing that. So next up, we're going to talk about talents. Talents are something that you can either go all the way on or you can go minimum on. So for these characters that I don't plan on using 2 months from now, for example, Soul. I do plan on getting Mars at some point, or I hope to get Mars at some point. So he will be one of my main tanks going forward. With Soul, I haven't invested all of the talents into there, which is okay because with the talents that we have open, it gives her everything that she needs. This is more than enough for her to scale through the dungeons and scale through all the PvE content that we've had so far. Now, if there's harder content coming out later that she's unable to do, then maybe we need to get all of this unlocked to get that stone put in there. But for now, we haven't needed to do that. So farm the talent seeds as much as you can to give each character their 2 applied talents. This would be the increased attack for tanks, is the increased attack, the sharp mind, increased defense, endurance, increased damage resistance, and swiftness. And what these are just very basic. You have attack plus 7, you have damage dealt plus 5%, you have defense plus 20%, and we have a buff granted 4% defense and 2% crit resist at the start of a wave, stacks up to 5 times. So we have 20 and 10. That's a pretty decent applied bonus that you're getting just from a talent. Over here for the technique side, we have same thing, a buff for +1 special point if you're having less, so a free special point attack there, and damage resistant plus 7% or 10%, I'm sorry. The damage dealers are basically the same way. You would have the same applied bonuses here with your attack, and then depending if it's a magic attacker, would be over here. Oh, sorry. Where is it at? Magic attack would be over here, and then you'd probably do something like these 2 for magic attackers. But for physical attackers, these are the ones that you would want to go with. As you can see on Yami, I haven't even unlocked any of this stuff because it hasn't been necessary. I've been saving them up for other characters that really needed it. Charmy, same thing. I got these 2 and this one. So increased magic attack, battle frenzy. Like I said, that's the magic attacker. Over here, swiftness, just to have her be able to move more around. Let's see, a pure magic attacker. Okay, so for Lotus, same thing. We did the magic attack, and yes, the crit rate stacks up. So you could either do something like this or this. I like the crit rate, but you can go either way. My goal now with the talents is, because we know what is coming out, we have the ability to see into the future with these other banners because JP and Korea, then you can kind of save for things like that. So for my materials over here, if we go look, I've been saving all of the attack, and I'm about to start doing the blue and green today, which will give me about 6 more days to farm up. That way I can have a fully maxed out Noelle the day that she comes out, because she will be valuable for the first week in PvP and PvE content. She'll help clear some of the things that I'm having trouble with right now because I haven't been investing in every character, been waiting for these to come out. So talents is get the 2 bonuses that you need that excel your character in its role. After that, save up for certain characters and max them out. The reason is that you do want to max at least 3 of those out is because the last 2 of the Mage's Path, they do require you to engrave a stone and engrave 3 talent stones over here, and then we get all of this bonus stuff. So definitely you want to knock that out sooner than later. If you're looking to max out Noelle, probably do that stuff now as soon as she comes out. Get that on her. If you don't really care about maxing out Noelle, then probably save it for Julius. But to farm it, what I've found is that the last stage of the ice cavern, so stage 15 gives a lot more of the orange than it does the green. If you want to get more green, I believe you have to start right here at 8, 9, and 10. Those were the 3 that I tested that was giving more green than orange. Anything lower, you're getting like 2 or 3 of them per run on the lucky case scenario. On 9, I think 8, 9, 10, and 11, you're getting around 4 to 5 of these on the lucky case scenario, which is great. Other than that, the last one is obviously the best for the orange. And if you get more green, you can always come over here. Oops. You can come over here to the hideout. And in the hideout, you will have Gray sitting back here. And she allows you to convert items. So if you come over here, if you need more of the higher material, it takes 3 of the green to convert to the orange. So you have a couple different ways to achieve that. Now, on to the last thing, or not the last thing, but the second to last thing is going to be our skills. Let's go ahead and look at her skills. So obviously the skill page is very important because it gives you a passive bonus. This one grants 4% fortify upon taking damage, but if your tank doesn't have the Mars skill page, Souls is very good as well. Worst case scenario, you can use his right here. With the skill pages, if it's like for example, if it's the character, it'll upgrade a skill, which makes the Claude Strike, her skill 2, do a different effect or a bonus effect. If you have a skill page that is not the actual character skill page, then you only get the passive. So sometimes the passive is enough to make it worth not to use their current skill page. Like this one, it gives you a 45 buff, which is huge. That's skill pages in general. Is the character skill page will usually be the best. There is very, case scenarios where you're using someone else's. Like in her case, because she's an SR, we're using an SSR version. It gives us a better passive. When it comes to leveling up skills, the way that I look at it is, how is this skill going to benefit me in a battle? Like with something like this, I probably shouldn't have even upgraded this skill at all. It was earlier on, I was just upgrading stuff. With hers, probably level 3 would be where I want to go on the ultimate, but you're never really using her ultimate, so it's a hard skip. Don't need to level this up, it's just doing more damage. Don't need to level this up, it's doing more damage. But if we go look at our damage dealer, different story. His ultimate gets a reduced SP cost at level 5. That means that I'm able to use this 1 turn quicker because of that. And then when you pair that with the talents, you get a bonus SP even quicker. You're basically shaving off 2 turns to be able to use his ultimate faster. When it comes to stuff like this, we can see his card is giving it a bonus. So it gives us increased bonus stats and stuff that it does. Over here, upgrading it only does more damage. Upgrading it only does more damage. Combined attack is probably, I would say right now, the only combined attack that you want to level up is probably going to be his, Lix and Raya's. As for these, I just leveled them up to get a little bit more damage. There was some content that I wanted to beat, and I was being impatient, so I just leveled those up. And as for the healers, again, usually leveling up theirs will give you like an activation rate or something like that upgrade. So it's good. I might level her healing skill up a little bit more. This one right here just gives you more recovery. It's worth it if you're struggling on a content, but is it necessary? No. So last but not least, let's go ahead and look at perfected gear sets and kind of what you should be trying to go for. So when I'm looking at a tank, my tank has 2 jobs. 1, to survive, and 2, to taunt or redirect the damage to themselves. So all in all, we want them to be able to soak damage up while staying healthy. And if the enemies have AoE attacks, we want the healer to have the ability to skip a turn healing the tank and prioritize on healing the damage dealers if it's necessary. So how do we achieve that? We want to have the highest defense possible that we can, and we want to have the most HP possible that we can. Having a higher percentage of HP, if you're playing on auto, it tells the AI system or whatever the algorithm is that they have more of a percentage left of their health than the other character does. So having a lot more HP stacked on top of each other, it tells the system that the percentage is more and I need to focus on someone else. Your HP could be 100,000, for example. And if your damage dealer's HP is, let's see where my HP is at on him, 50,000 or 49.5. So if he takes down to 25%, 25,000 damage, Whereas she's taking 30,000 damage, but she still has a higher percentage left, then it'll focus on going to the damage dealer. So it'll give us more health where we need it. Number 2, obviously, is going to be the gear defense. So defense is what allows us to soak any damage coming in and allows us to take less damage in turn of that. So in game, we want to be focused on defense and we want to be focusing on health. Once we get to a point to where we know that we have enough of both of those, then your third set, obviously the best thing can be is speed. Speed is just king in almost all cases of any PvE or PvP content. If you get to have more turns, then you are inherently doing more healing, taunting more enemies, and doing more damage. So that's kind of in-game speed is where you want to be at on everyone. Doesn't matter. I mean, it just doesn't matter. On DPS, unless you have a support that just gives that buff, like a Fenrir, and other characters like a Lotus that takes the buff away from the other team. That would be the only time that you can just scale more damage that would make sense. For damage dealers, optimal gear is going to be a speed set, the damage set, and either a crit damage or crit rate set, depending on what the kit is. This is the speed set you're going for. Obviously, the optimal stats you want is what makes sense for the character. As for our substats, here probably don't need crit resist, probably don't need accuracy on him because it's not something that's playing into his role at all. We would want attack percentage, crit damage, crit rate, and probably the last one would be like a speed or something. I don't know if there's a substat for speed or a magic damage on him because he scales with both magic and attack. That would be optimal for like a Yami that does both. For like an Asta, we have crit rate, magic attack is no good, HP is no good, and we have it unlocked at 12 to see what the fourth one is. But crit rate, crit damage, attack, and HP is fine or defense is fine, so that way they can survive. But optimally, you would want like another attack stat or another flat something in there. For damage dealers, we want to do the two attack, the upgraded ones, 2 speed upgraded ones, and then crit rate would be, let me see if I have any of them. Yeah, so crit rate would be these guys right here, or crit damage, whichever one this one is. So this is a crit rate buff when HP is 70% or higher. I believe there is an upgraded version of that. We can go ahead and look at the gear. That way we can see the upgraded version of those. Let's go ahead and go to the gear dungeon. Yeah, so here we go. Rewards. So upgraded is this right here, just straight up flat crit damage. And then we have this one, which is just straight up flat crit rate. Yep. So these would be the ones, the in-game pieces that you would want to use for your damage dealers. When it comes to healers, the in-game sets that you would want to use on them, and this will be the last thing that we go over. The upgraded gear sets for them would be obviously a 4-piece of speed, I would say, and then either a 2-piece of health or 2-piece of defense, whichever you are lacking. The faster your healer can go, the faster they're healing everyone up being healthy. And once you have your tank optimized out, it's very rare that your healer is going to be focused unless it's an AoE attack. But AoE attacks usually don't do enough to just straight up 1-tap or 2-tap your characters, unless it's like in PvP where they're just like out gearing you completely crazy. And last but not least is going to be your artifacts. So these right here, we get them from the daily challenge. And then also you can craft them in game over here, which I would not suggest doing. Earlier on, I was doing it, and I would not suggest doing it right now. But later on, you can craft accessories right here. So thank y'all so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I hope that I brought you guys some insight on everything. If there was anything that I missed in this guide, please let me know down in the comments below. I really appreciate any of the feedback you guys have. If there's any ways I can make my videos better, or if I'm like talking too quick or going too slow, or if I'm hitting redundant information, please let me know down in the comments. It really helps me out. If you haven't subscribed already, like I said, I hope I win you guys over with these. I'm really excited every day to make these videos and join this community. Thank y'all so much, and I'll see you in the next video.